You are welcome to Abrahamic Mission. Abrahamic Mission is a program that is designed to enlighten us about the two main religions that we have in this country, Islam and Christianity. Recently, an executive governor is doing a wonderful thing in this country about forgiveness and reconciliation. If you watch this program last week, he was here with us and he explained to us what led to the day of forgiveness in a state, that is in Plateau State. Today also, before the end of the program last week, we received so many messages appealing to him to please come and be part of the program once again for today. And I want to say, with gratitude to God and appreciating him, to welcome His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, Right Honorable Simon Bako Lalong, to Al-Habibiyah, to Abrahamic Mission. Your Excellency, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, viewers.
We want to thank you once again. My name is Imam Fuad Adeyemi, and before I allow him to say why has he accepted to come again, we have received a lot of messages. Incidentally, you are here, you'll be able to listen to it by yourself, what people have been saying. Let me start from a man from Erinle in Kwara State. He said, I'm excited to listen to this program. It's only in the barrack such is happening. Abdul Fattah from Erinle. I don't know what you mean, that forgiveness and reconciliation, that it is only in the barracks they used to have that. I think that's a plus for the military in Nigeria. I don't know. So it means you are replicating what is happening in the barracks.
Yes, okay.
So thank you, one Alhaji Abdul Fattah from Erinle, Kwara State. This man writes, say, kindly sell your strategy to other governors in Nigeria, from Mr. Oji CC Enugu. This man writes, His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, well done, sir. More grace to your office. The greatest thing a leader can do for his people is peace and security. He said, I appreciate you. Another man said, I'm Ibrahim Dansabo Dambawa from Kefi, Nasarawa State. I so much love Governor Lalong for his leadership style. He is a man with a passion for peace. Long live Nigeria. Long live Plateau State. I don't know whether you know the person because he's been writing continuously. This man writes, he says, His Excellency, the Governor of Plateau State, you are doing well, especially that statement you made by saying that they should not kill or pursue people, but bring out the criminal to justice. It means that the governors have to work hard to bring peace in the state. I appreciate you for that statement. Kester Terma from Abuja. I don't know whether you remember when you said that.
Yes, I did. About the issue in Ondo.
Okay.
So instead of tagging a tribe with criminality, it's better to fish out those criminals and deal with them. And not to say that everybody should leave the place. And I gave also an example of what happened to me in Plateau State. In the crisis when I was the speaker in my constituency, directly in my constituency, Yalwa Shaddam. So after the crisis, I think the general most opinion was that if you are someone, you must leave that community. I said, no, you can't leave that community for crisis, which is mistakes of everybody. So what we did was to say, nobody should leave that community. Instead, we must address the community to understand that what they did was wrong. Both Christians and Muslims. If they understand, because if you ask one community to leave, the tendency is that someone is paying. He will leave that community and continue to come back and wreak havoc on the society. So the best thing is to force them to stay together. And we did. All of them came stay together. We now maintain peace in that community. And when they came back, they lived together. Today, I have not heard of any crisis after that.
In Yelwa Shandam?
That is Yelwa Shandam.
Thank you, sir.
It's one of the places that are very politically conscious. And so they don't fight again. If anytime there was any problem in Plateau State, they themselves on their own created a peace community, a peace a peace committee.
Okay.
And it's always under the chairmanship of a reverend father in that place. So anytime there's crisis all over Plateau, what they do is to run to the reverend father's house, both Muslims and Christians, and say, you see something is happening, we don't want that to come here. Anybody that brings that trouble here, will fish him out. And there will be no trouble.
Oh,
in
that's
that
wonderful.
place.
We still want to hear more, sir. Your Excellency. This man says, my name is Abel Unomimele, writing from Aba, Abia State. In fact, I love this program. Always happy when I listen to discussion. Seeing the governor there is inwardly part of this program. Before he came there, because like mind stay together. I'm trying to. Oh, probably what he's saying, that you've been part of this program even before you came here.
Okay.
I think that is true.
Okay.
Good evening, Your Excellency, my Imam and Reverend. I am really impressed with your innovation. God will continue to bless you, sir. Most leaders want peace but haven't done what it takes to attain it. I love your humble nature and will love to emulate that. Please, let's take this to other states. All leaders and citizens of our dear country should learn to forgive one another. God bless you, Mr. Governor Emmanuel Awosami, Peace Ambassador, artist from Kano State. Mr. Awosami, thank you so much. These governors supposed to be, I don't want to go political, but he said this governor should get promotion. Let me put that way. He said, my prayer is that God will still strengthening you and sustain you with his love in Jesus' name. Amen. Under my right, he says, I pray other governors should emulate Honorable Lalong in this race for peace to attain in this country. Mrs. Ogunshina, FBA, from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, she writes, she says, I thank God for the person that sponsored this program. The purse of the person will never run dry. I also thank those invited guests who contribute immensely. God renew your strength. I also say thank you to hosts for opening our eyes and ears to the truth. Keep it up, from Mrs. Ogunshina, FBA, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. This man writes, kudos to His Excellency for his wise initiative. I will suggest that other governors should borrow the same idea and implement the same in their different domains. From Akin Oye Julius from Lagos. This man writes, his name is Said Adeyemi from Asanusiya College of Education, Odeomo in Osun State. He said, Your Excellency, will you not be prosecuted since you declared that people should forgive you for offense probably you did not commit? He said, Said Adeyemi from Asanusiya College of Education, Odeomo.
Well, I think I would like to take that. To say that a leader who is voted to protect lives and properties, and then saying that if there is commotion, if there is destruction of that lives and property, to come out and say, look, I'm sorry. It's an obligation. It's already a constitutional duty that you are supposed to be in charge of everything. And if something goes wrong, you should know that everybody will look up to you. The first thing that when there is a crisis, that's why the people start talking about government. Because government is not everywhere, but they will talk about government. So it's the duty of the government to provide, to protect security, lives, and also to protect security. And so the fact that there was crisis in Plateau State means that something went wrong. And the first thing to do is to say, if something went wrong, whether by my omission or my my commission, I am very sorry. So I will now look forward and address some such things. So it's not because we are doing it. If you have evidence of it, that something is wrong, that's what I'm saying. So bring it out so that we can correct it. If you say you are keeping it till when I leave office, how are you sure he will be alive if there is crisis in that place for you to come and start prosecution? Then it means that you have also not forgiven the governor. So if you have forgiven the governor, that's why I'm talking about forgiveness. Emphasizing on forgiveness. And forgiveness is not all about saying, I've forgiven you, and then you keep the record. Forgiveness, as far as I'm concerned, means that you will forgive and forget. But if you forgive and say, I will not forget, that is not forgiveness.
Like a verse of the Quran, let me use it to back you up. I know you quote a biblical that says, and that says that those spend what they have both in the open and the secret when they are pained and when it is easy for them.
Yes.
He said they forgive when they are and they remove their mind from offense committed to them. And not only removing their mind, they also forgive permanently. Say they are friends of God. That is the way Quran put it. I'm supporting you.
Yes.
That what you are saying, that you should forgive. Let me quickly go ahead. We have so many messages, but I will just be jumping with whichever I see. I will read. Do and say, good day, His Excellency, moderator, and the ministers on the program. I am Mr. Leke Oyelade. I wish the entire nation could emulate what His Excellency has brought to this nation. No wonder there is peace all over his look. We from other parts of the nation are hearing about the peace ruling in Plateau State. But please, His Excellency should help to influence the same among his governors in their forum, not only in the north, but throughout the country. God bless you, sir. Another one, I say, I give kudos to Governor Simon Lalong for doing this great job in Plateau. God will be with you throughout your tenure.
Amen.
Amen. This one say, good evening, men of God, the governor and the moderator. Of a truth, the governor is a man of peace. The more he talks, the more I see abundance of peace, love, and sincerity flowing out of him. God bless all. Ifeanyi, God's light from Oyigbo, River State. Let me quickly read this last message. This one say, I'm impressed. If all the state governors can do this to their state, Nigeria will be a better place. My name is Gideon Phillips from Lagos. I think with this, Mr. Gideon Phillips will go on a short break because His Excellency is actually waiting. We want to see we want to listen to him. We will go on a short break now, but don't go away. His Excellency is waiting to discuss with us.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Yeah, welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Abrahamic Mission, and my name is Imam Fuad Adeyemi. And joining us in the studio today is His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, Right Honorable Simon Bako Lalong. Your Excellency, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Today we will be discussing forgiveness and what do you call it? Reconciliation.
Yeah, yes.
His Excellency has demonstrated forgiveness. If you are part of us last week, he discussed forgiveness. But we're actually waiting to see what is that forgiveness. How did he do it? Incidentally, they marked the day of forgiveness in Plateau State on the 7th of February.
Yes.
This year. That is the third year
Yes.
of the existence of this program.
Yes.
But it was packaged for NTA. Let's quickly watch the package first. Then before we come back to you, we'll now explain to us how and what led to it.
Thank you.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Plateau State government has set aside the 7th day of February every year to mark the day of forgiveness and reconciliation after a series of ethno-religious crises that engulfed the state in the time past. In his homily, Most Reverend Matthew Audu admonished believers to shun anger and bitterness but seek true forgiveness in their dealings with one another.
Plateau State was where everybody wanted to come and live. What has happened? Why are we going the way we are going? It is time. Let us come together. Christians or Muslims, one tribe or the other. Let us, if we are asking God to help us, let us play our part to live in peace with one another. And I kneel down before you. In the name of God, if the church in any way of cause trouble or offense, please forgive us. Please forgive us on behalf of the Catholic Church and all other churches. We also ask that other people should forgive, and let this forgiveness come from our heart. We are sorry for anything we caused that brought pain, sorrow, sadness to anybody.
Governor Simon Lalong said the Day of Forgiveness is part of the state government's roadmap to peace and reassured citizens that government is alive to its responsibility of the protection of lives and properties.
As governor of Plateau State, I know that my responsibility is to protect lives and properties. When there is crisis and people die, the first responsibility is that I am guilty as a governor. And what I will do is to say that I wish again to apologize to all people that suffered one loss or the other and to ask for their forgiveness. I am human. So if we have caused any problem, today is Forgiveness Day. I, as a governor, I am very sorry and I ask for your forgiveness.
The interdenominational and interreligious gathering provided a platform for key players who emphasized the need for citizens to bury the past and forge ahead.
Our prayers is for peace to reign in Plateau State. We are to join our hands, be together in harmony. I can remember one of the commissioners, the Commissioner for Special Duties, he used to carry food from his house to our house during Christmas time when we were young. And we took food to them in their house during Sunday celebrations. We need to see this happening with our children and great-grandchildren, and what will is going to happen in Plateau State. Thank you very much. Be it Christian or Muslim, Buddhist or Hindu, in one way or the other, forgiveness is emphasized and is fundamental to our faith. God will not forgive us if we do not make good use of this land and become one, drop our differences, love one another. When you forgive, every pain goes away. We should look at each other as brothers and sisters and to continue to live as one.
Other speakers stated the important place of interreligious harmony and peaceful coexistence to the socio-economic development of the state and nation. Prayers were offered for healing, reconciliation and peace of Plateau State and Nigeria. From the St. Louis Catholic Church in Jos, Priscilla Grumnan.
You're welcome. Watching that video is highly emotional. The Catholic priests, you can see from his heart, he was actually seeking for forgiveness.
Yes.
Which I believe it started from you and all others doing that. How did it start? Where do you want to be?
Yes. Thank you very much. I think that question was asked when I came into office very early. And somebody asked, what would you want to be remembered for? And in that time, when I came in, there was crisis in Plateau State. Hardly will you watch a television and will not see, today there are 10 people, 20 people were killed this year, 20 people, civil servants were on strike, all this trouble everywhere. And what I said is, my problem, the policy trust. I set up 5 policy trusts. But number 1 policy trust was peace and security of lives and properties. So I made peace and security my cardinal policy trust. And so to achieve that cardinal policy trust, that was why I said last week that we set up the peace agency, peace building agency, and which was made it by law, established the peace building agency to complement the idea of reconciling people everywhere. So if the trust is that I want to be remembered as the man who left peace in Plateau, a peaceful place in Plateau State, developments will come. And let me also not forget that in the process of this crisis, the state was almost like bankrupt because no projects going on, many things were not working. And the report I get each time was that the whole resources of the state was spent on issue of insecurity. And I said, if I have peace, there's no need to spend this money on insecurity.
Yeah.
And indeed, God gave me that privilege. And within a short time, we had peace in Plateau State. And when we had peace, we didn't have to be spending so much of our money on peace. So we spend so much of our money in paying outstanding salaries of civil servants. Outstanding salaries of civil servants, pensions here and there. We paid part of what we would have done for peace in also going back to infrastructure. Today, by the grace of God, we pay salaries as and when due in Plateau State. Salaries as and when due. So if we hadn't peace in Plateau State, we would not be paying salaries because there would be no industries. People ran away. Everybody flight everywhere. Everybody was running away. Industries were closing. Everybody. But when we started and peace came, people were coming back to Plateau. Today, even the space is not enough for people. So many people that left the state because of crisis came back to me and said, please, I want to buy back my land. I had sold it before. I didn't know peace will ever come back to Plateau. Now that there is peace in Plateau, please, can you help me talk to this person? I want to buy, even with interest, I will pay him. This has been what has been happening in Plateau State up to this time that I'm talking about. And so peace is very precious. And I've always said, even within the last 4 or 5 years that I've been governor, most of the prizes or most of the awards that I get, the most precious ones are when they say we are giving you a prize for peace. I've received a prize for peace from the US. I've received a prize for peace from the UK. I've recently the French came, not to even talk of journalists in Nigeria. When the other time at the Nigerian Union of Journalists gave governors here, I took the prize for peace. I was very happy because when you take the prize for peace, to me it's more precious than saying you took the prize for infrastructure and everything when there is no peace in your state. So for me, what I do when I get back with those prizes, I put them in different places. For infrastructure, for this one or that one, I put them in different places. But if I get a prize or an award for peace, I hang it on a precious place. And I put it on a precious place. And I've told my children that anytime I leave, remember, even when I'm not around, put this one in a precious place. So if they ask you, what was your dad?
What did it stood for?
What did it stood for? What it stood for? You tell him that it stood for peace. That alone will give you glory. So with peace, you can get anything. I was recently reading presentation, an audio video by the Archbishop, late Archbishop Ganaka, our former Archbishop, and may so rest in peace. I watched that video. I have never seen that audio, but because I had that program last week, somebody came and said, "Look, my piece of donation is I'm giving you this audio." Because many of the things you are talking about, I thought you had that audio before. I said, no, I've never. But I heard the video for 30 minutes. I said, wonderful. This was in 1983 in the UK, where he made a presentation. And it was all about peace and reconciliation. And so in a place, he was the Archbishop then. We had peace. But today, and I think the man who took over from him too, I mentioned it, Archbishop Kaigama, carried forward the issue of peace. He was the chairman of the Interreligious Council in Plateau State. And so today, again, we have resuscitated the Interreligious Council in Plateau State. That is what we did in the last, just last week.
No, we'll talk about it extensively.
So I don't want to talk about that.
We'll talk about it.
So for me, I think peace is precious for a leader. Because when you live and they go and say, this man was the most peaceful person. This one ensured there was peace in that place. And you remember to our Nelson Mandela in Africa here. If Nelson Mandela was going to be vindictive, I don't think South Africa would have been where they are today. But somebody who went through all this, who went through hardship for almost 40-something years in detention, suffering for his people. When he came out, what he did was reconciling the people and said, let's forget about the past. Let's look for the future. Today, he's no more. But his name will continue to live in South Africa.
Exactly. I
Yes.
think there's one thing that you mentioned now. There's an African adage that says, he who appreciates the cleanness of area is the person that swept the place.
Yes.
Others might be passing, but if you are the one that sweep the place, definitely you appreciate it the more than any other. That is why you appreciate peace and award anything that is given to you on peace. Please let me quickly read some of the messages sent to you. This man writes, good evening, Your Excellency. In fact, you are a very different leader out of the leaders we have in this country. Please keep it up, because Plateau State was something else, but is now a state of peace. Thank you, Your Excellency. From Sifiano Aruna from Kaduna. He also says, sir, honestly, you are a man sent from God to come to the rescue of Plateau State people. Kudos to your elbow. Thank you. The same man wrote that. Your Excellency, there's one thing that I've also noticed here. When there is peace, there's likely to be more prosperity in that place.
Exactly.
How do you plan to sustain this which you have started, at least before you leave?
Yes. And that is exactly what we did, because the idea of celebrating a day of peace and conciliation in Plateau State, I said, came also from our peace building agency. It came from the peace building agency. Now, when we set up the peace building agency, their duty was to work with all the NGOs, every NGO that was responsible for ensuring peace in Plateau State. They embraced it, and through that kind of arrangement, they made there was that suggestion that you must sustain this peace. You must continue to sustain it. It's not an issue of peace for a year. After that, then trouble will continue. And so part of doing that was that the idea that we must set up a day for peace and forgiveness. So we did that the first year. We did it. It was in the stadium. If not for COVID-19, this one too would have been in the stadium. So that stadium was jam-packed, because what we started was that we went to the mosque. There was the mosque, prayers in the mosque, and the emphasis was peace and reconciliation and forgiveness. And the next one, which we had, which also had the attendance of the Sultan, of His Eminence the Sultan, was wonderful, because the Eminence saw it. There were workshops everywhere, attended presentations, and at the end of the day, all religious groups came together. Many of the ethnic leaders came together. And at the end of the day, which I mentioned last week, that with the selected group of youths from many of the ethnic groups, from all the religious organizations, were picked and then were trained. I mentioned in the bush because I said it's at the Shere Hills, Leadership Training Center at Shere Hills. Okay. So they all went there, about 2 weeks they were there. And they taught them the issue of forgiveness and the issue of peace and forgiveness. And so when they came back, they became ambassadors of forgiveness, peace and forgiveness. So all over their societies. So up to today, those people are still kept there. And when the issue of community policing came, we recruited so many of them into community policing. So it's not about talking about kinetic, but also non-kinetic approach to settling disputes. So when we came up this year, our idea was that this year was also going to be much bigger than what we were thinking. Because last year, what we did was also to bring out communities that had reconciled as a result of that forgiveness. It took us almost 2 weeks to prepare people, and they went to communities where they had forgiven each other, where they had come together, they were not seeing each other, they were not living together, they were now living together. They came, shared their experiences, they were weeping. It was emotional, crying, but they hugged each other. And today, those communities are living peacefully and are living peacefully. So as we prepared for this one, unfortunately, COVID-19 did not allow us to do much for. But what we did was that for the program for this year, we had prayers in the church. We had prayers on Friday, prayers, all emphasizing issue of forgiveness. And then Sunday, We had the church prayer, which you saw, presided by the Archbishop of Jos, and then we capped it up with the inauguration of the interfaith community. That's the religious, interreligious community. So we did that with council, over 50 of them, 25 from the Muslim side and 25 from the Christian side. I had somebody send a note to me and say, why are you making it the number even? That you are not making equal number. He said you should know that in this faith, one is they are larger than larger. I said no. You say you are already beginning a conflict. You are already beginning conflict. I said when you come to peace, do you rate peace? There's no way you rate peace. You can't say this one is 50%. This one has his own 50. I said no. Peace is 50-50, because forgiveness is 50-50. If you are able to forgive, you have 100%. So we're talking of how to find peace and how to forgive each other. It doesn't matter the number of people, but we know that we only pick two religions, that is Christianity and Islam. So that's why we're giving equal number. Christianity is saying the same thing. Islam is saying the same thing. And that is the point where we say there must be that interaction. So this committee will continue to remain there so that we don't have a crisis, because most of the things that I see in Plateau is that the easiest flashpoint to put commotion in Plateau, even when there is a small group problem, is for somebody to leave that place to go and light up or burn a church or burn a mosque. If you burn a mosque or burn a church, then you go away. The next thing is that the number of people that will be killed, they kill. So if you are able to address some of these religious conflict, you will also have addressed a larger portion of the problems or the trigger for conflict in Plateau State. So as you said, we intend to keep up with that. I told them that let us just watch and see. Most likely, I'm going to pass into law the constitution of that council. I'm
wonderful.
going to make it into law, just like we started with the Peace Building Agency, and which came into law, passed by the House of Assembly. And so if we are doing well in keeping peace in Plateau State, we may move with a motion, with a bill, to the House of Assembly to pass that and institutionalize them, so that the next governor will not come and say, no, I'm dispersing them. They will continue like that, so that peace will also remain, will always remain the cardinal trust of the government.
No, Your Excellency, with this peace thing we are saying, is there any relationship between peace and infrastructural development and development generally? Is there any link there now? Because now there is peace in Plateau. After peace, what next?
You can't take away peace from development. And you cannot do development when there is no peace. If you do development when there is no peace, and then, of course, there is insecurity, there is crisis, definitely most of the development that you did will all be destroyed. So there's no basis for doing that. Anyway, what are you doing for the people when you say that you wake up today and all the infrastructure, all the buildings that you have done are all put on fire? So in order to sustain them, they must go hand to hand in hand. But first of all, for me, is to ensure that there is peace. When there is peace, there will be a lot of infrastructure. There will be the economy will also it will also encourage the economy. And when you encourage the economy, you are also getting more revenue to even do infrastructure. That is development. That's development. So all of them go together. They go hand in hand.
No, I agree with you. There was a particular country in Africa that the entire state, big cities in that places were littered with sheets.
Yes.
So what the president at that time did was that he employed cleaners.
Yes.
And their salary was even more than the salary of a professor.
Yes.
Each of them. So their country became one of the cleanest, and people are complaining. Say, if you are complaining, go and join them. Go and take the position of a cleaner.
Yes.
If there is opportunity for you to come and join, if you apply, we will take you. So with that, it changed their country for better up to today. I think with that, I will now go on a very short break because we still have so many other things to discuss. But don't go away. It's coming back.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other, let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are, put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one, let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one, let's live together.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, government has signed the health protection regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. And use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, we are discussing forgiveness and reconciliation, the Plateau experience. Your Excellency, you recently inaugurated Plateau State Interreligious Council, and it was another milestone. But before you say anything, I still want us to watch the inauguration of this. Perhaps all of us will really appreciate what it means to be peaceful. Let's wait and watch this video.
Privileged to inaugurate you as members of the Plateau State Interreligious Council, to the glory of God and for the peace, unity and progress of Plateau State.
The inauguration of the 49-member Interreligious Council is part of government's continued effort at consolidating several policy initiatives to mitigate the risk of the return of violence as well as tackle the wave of criminality in the state. The council members are former Kokin president as chairman and Emir of Wase as co-chairman, heads of various denominations in the state, and experts in peace and conflict management. For the Plateau State government, it is marching words with action towards the promotion of culture of interfaith dialogue as a viable mechanism for peaceful coexistence, mutual understanding, and religious tolerance.
Despite the effort and modest successes recorded as stemming the tide of ethno-religious violence, Plateau State is still in dire need of healing. Our people have remained somewhat divided along ethno-religious or tribal lines, due largely to the experiences of yesterday. Yet, we have a golden opportunity to open a new leaf by consolidating on the gains of our efforts within the last 6 years.
Papers presented on the role of interfaith dialogue and promotion of peace from the Islamic and Christian points of view emphasized the place of mutual understanding and trust in spite of people's differences.
Achieving peaceful coexistence requires social cohesion, learning to recognize and live with differences, interacting and engaging in positive dialogue with one another.
Wherever Christians and Muslims live in peace, dialogue between them should aim at addressing common problems for the common good and peaceful coexistence of the society.
We thank our governor for providing us the enabling environment to enable us succeed in this responsibility, without which we will not succeed.
We want to thank God for your life as the governor of Plateau State. When you came in your first tenure, as elders, we made a suggestion
for the establishment of an interreligious committee. To us, it's a fulfillment of our idea that this is necessary for Plateau State.
His Excellency's giant stride in fostering peaceful coexistence of all religions and indeed all peoples of Plateau State, particularly Christians and Muslims, is glaring for all to see. Then the least we can do as security agencies and other stakeholders is to join hands in glove with His Excellency and all arms of this government to tackle the ugly incidents of religious intolerance and conflicts in Plateau State.
If there is any legacy that His Excellency would leave behind, not for this generation, but even generations yet unborn, is his passion, his commitment for all children of Abraham on the plateau to live in peace and harmony with one another.
We continue to work hand in hand with you to see that we bring Plateau to the desired goal that we need. It is said, if you don't know where you are going, you come back and retrace your step. This is what the governor has done today, because many years ago, we have been fought this state crisis. He has deemed it necessary to join us together and see and make a way forward, which we are doing it today. It is incumbent on us, ladies and gentlemen, to continue to pray for this organization, support them in whatever way, so that they can succeed.
And that's the reason why this council is very dear to your heart. And that's why you took your time to identify these personalities by yourself. So this function, therefore, is to be consulted so that you can help drive the vision of the governor, which is that of building peace in the Plateau and uniting the people of Plateau. That the more talked about the peace building agency, which is a pioneer peace building institution in Nigeria, was put in place by His Excellency.
Yeah, welcome back. Before I allow His Excellency to talk, let me read the message from some group of people from Port Harcourt. They say, "Good day, sir. I love this program. Your Excellency, you are an ambassador of peace. Some governors are promoting conflict in their state should learn from you. I pray that God will elevate you to higher office in 2023 so that there will be absolute peace in Nigeria." Chukwudi Unwata from Port Harcourt. And he continues. He said, "Greetings to Your Excellency. You are a true leader and very visionary one. My group will love to come and present our award for peace to you. Your peace, to you, you are a peace personified. This program is very impactful. Thanks to everybody that are involved." Chooks from Port Harcourt. I think I decided to read that message to serve as a continuation of what we've just seen.
Yes.
How did it happen, to Your Excellency?
Yes. No, well, I said from the beginning, and I, unfortunately, unlike others, I inherited crisis. I came at the time that there was serious crisis in Plateau State. A lot of killings here and there. At the time that even there was no work going on, because civil servants were on strike, judiciary all on strike, and so the state was in comatose. And what will you do with that kind of situation? You first of all address the insecurity in the state, and then you go back to maintaining peace before you move into infrastructure. So that gave me a very, because when you are talking of peace, you also talk of sacrifices. You have to do a lot of sacrifice. So the first one was to address the issue of peace in Plateau State. And you cannot do peace without justice, fairness. We went back to some of the committees, like the elders said. I put the elders together. I put the two people, the two groups that were really into conflict were the Fulanis and the Birom tribe in Jos. And the first thing I did was to make sure that we reconcile them.
How did you do that, sir?
We did that. We set up a committee. And what I did was to call all of them. I called them first separately. I said, what is it that you will not see each other? They said, if I call this one will say, no. There is nothing that will make me sit with the other side. No way. There's no way. I left him. I went to the other side. I said, can you sit with these people? They said, no, we can't sit with them. Never. They've killed our people. We have killed ourselves. And I came back and I said, look, the chairman of Traditional Council was also very instrumental. That's the Bongom. His Majesty the Bongom. Who is the Birom? Yeah. Okay. I called him. I said, you are His Majesty. He said, yes. Don't you think you have a solution to this? He said, yes. Let's provide a solution. He said, yes, I belong to these people. But what about the other group? They may not want to sit. The Planis may not want to sit. I said, no, you tell your people first. And he agreed. He brought in his people, and they said they wanted to sit. It was also difficult for him. Then I went to the Fulanis. I called them. I said, Fulanis, why are you fighting? They said, no, we can't reconcile. And the first day, which was very interesting, was that I put the Fulanis in a place, in one guest house. And I asked them, I said, a man who introduced it, said, this governor wants to reconcile you with the Birom. And the old man, very old man, looked at him and said, where is the governor? They said, the governor is the one seated there. He said, this small boy. He looked at me and said, this small boy? He said, no. He asked, I said, you are a small boy now. He said, all this thing that has been happening for so many years, is it you
that will now
say you want to settle? They told him that he's the governor. They said, is he the governor? He said, yes. He said, am I sitting in government house? I said, Baba, I am the governor. You are sitting in government house. He said, I asked that
Probably
question.
you are wearing small clothes. That's what happened.
So what he did was, he said, I asked that question because we have been in trouble. We have tried to find out where is the governor so that we can sit down and reconcile. The governor has not given us opportunity. So we don't know where the government house is. So that you are telling me this is the government house, I will want to make a suggestion. That let me believe that this is government house. Can you give us an adjournment? We'll go back. Let me confirm that we were in government house. And indeed, that was what I did. I said, okay, let you go back. Let them go and convince this old man that this is government house. So after 3 days, we came back again. We came back with all of them. We started a discussion. It wasn't easy. From morning till 5 o'clock, from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, it was all insults, counter insults. But there was nobody hitting each other. Then we came back, we took another day and came back again. I sat down that place without even breakfast. I sat down quietly and I was watching. Then when we came back the second time, it was the same argument again. Counter accusations here and there. I sat down quietly. Then one old man stood up again and said, look, gentlemen, you see this man is a young man, very young man. The man sat down 2 days and he was listening to us and all of us elders quarreling within ourselves instead of making peace. I am sure why he invited us here is because he wants to make peace. Why don't we agree and suggest peace way forward for him? And we are all making caricature of ourselves, sitting down and accusing ourselves. This one, you are the reason, this one, if you know you are the reason, let us go find a place and sit down and find peace for him. And I saw that the spirit was flowing in them. And then immediately we adjourned the meeting. And what I did was to bring out the number, just like I did for the interreligious committee. I said, okay, what is your suggestion? The old man said, look, let's bring 10 people from here, 10 people from here. We all know the cause of this trouble. We all know the cause of the crisis. And we know the solutions to the crisis. And I said, very fine. So I gave them that, and I set up a committee to back them up. I said, you are the ones that will find peace, not me, government. When you find that peace, government will now know what to do with it. And believe me, it was that group themselves that told me what to do. And so they came out with the blueprint. And they finished, and then we saw peace running. There were no cattle rotting again. Then all of a sudden, there were no doing rearing in the night, no fighting, no this thing for a very long time.
Up to now?
Up to now. Up to now. So people started moving. Citizens started moving. Farmers started going to farm peacefully. And even people, the Fulanis were now moving with their cows easily. Until we do that for over 2 years, until we had one of the crises in Gashish, where they killed some people. And after that, I think up to today, we don't have much. Yes, we have pockets of here, banditry, small banditry here and there, but then not as to the magnitude of what we used to have. So within that area themselves, that committee remains there up to today. And because after that committee, we gave 6 months, when they came back, as usual, people will come back and say, look, we have not finished the assignment. I say, go on. And so go on. Every year we renew the contract for that committee, because they are doing a good work. Yeah. Even those communities that had crisis recently, they will always say, look, we want to live like those people. So we want to key into that group.
Your Excellency, I'm sorry I will interject here, because there is one thing that I really want you to talk about.
Yes.
I read a piece that Plateau State has discovered vaccine for coronavirus.
Yes.
Briefly.
No. Well, it's not that we discovered vaccine. We are working on it.
Okay.
And what we did was that when the coronavirus was going on, and I saw a lot of comments. People, medical doctors were coming. They say everything, we are going to Madagascar, we are going to this, and our people were beginning to complain. Our professors were complaining. They say, why are we going to Madagascar? What are we doing about the local solution, looking at local solution? So when workshops were going on and the complaints were going on, I went back to my set. I was the first to say that, look, I assembled a team of professors. We have about 3 or 4 institutions. The Von Veterinary Research is one for it. I picked professors from Von Veterinary Research Institute. We picked professors from University of Jos. We picked professors from Jos University Teaching Hospital, and then the Plateau State Specialist Hospital. So I assembled all of them, and I said, look, you are doctors, you are lab technicians and experts. Why can't we use the solution, the local solution? They said, we can do it. It's only that there's no incentive from government. And so I said, look, what is your own? Start something. Are you going to start something? They said, yes. How much do you want to start? They gave me the bill, and I gave it to them. Before we knew anything, they were already producing syrups and everything.
For coronavirus?
For corona. They use it. Now, after that, they sent it to NAFDAC. And for over 6 months, when they sent to NAFDAC, we didn't hear anything from NAFDAC. I don't know what happened, but recently, I had to call myself, to call the director to say, I saw people going. Even the vice president went to Ibadan also. I said, but in our own, we started over 6 months. And you see they produce so many things. They are even working on vaccine. What is it? Can't we encourage them? I was on television because I'm also a member of the PTF. That's representing the Governors Forum. The Governors Forum. I raised that. I said, why are we not encouraging our own? If we continue to spend billions of naira for coronavirus, tomorrow it will be another one. Ebola will come. This one will come. It's high time that we develop our own remedy, our own local remedy. So they started, and up to this moment, of course, we are waiting. But I think the attention that the Director General gave to me was very, very good, because instantly she said she forwarded it to me, and we'll do that. And if you see from records what they have done, the tea and everything, they're only waiting for confirmation. And
from NAFDAC?
From NAFDAC. And they will do it. So if you encourage people like that, one day, I hope.
Please, as soon as it's out,
yes,
I will be one of the few #1 people that will take that vaccine from Plateau State, because I know it's from hope and from somebody whose face is not lying. So if I take it, I know I'm taking the right thing.
Yes,
so,
yes,
it's
good to encourage people like that, because even when Corona came, you see they were talking about oxygen, talking about ventilators. Look, we had very young men in Plateau State. Before they knew anything, those people invented ventilators. Wow. So it was on television. I brought it because a young man who made car here, the young man who was the same person was given an award by the presidency. I can go on and on if we use our local content.
Well, I want to say on behalf of every responsible Nigerians that has listened to you, that has changed their mind, that you have convinced them, that have given hope in this our country, that Nigeria will be better. If we have more of this, who are committed, who are dedicated, who are responsive, we know by God's grace we'll get there. Your Excellency, we thank you once again. You are here last week and you are still here today, purposely because of this.
Yes.
I pray God in his infinite mercy will be there for you and your family and all your team. We want to thank you and all our teams who have been part of this, especially the manager of NTA. Even the studio has to be changed almost overnight. We thank you and we appreciate you and all those who are involved. Until when we meet, my name is Imam Fuad Adeyemi saying bye-bye.